This is Leimomi Keliikuli, Intuitive Soul. I'm a coach here, and so I wanted to make a video to share with you about some insights that I have and that will help you to get better into your flow. So if you're just listening in, just say hello just so I know that you're listening, and you can ask me questions at any time. So I want to share about this topic about, what happens beyond when you are in this flow, when you're being in this flow, and how to keep yourself there, right? And like why maintenance and mastering your soul alignment is not what you think it is, because there's so much more going on than you can even imagine, believe me. Hi, Louise. So this is something that I think like we have an illusion about. So I wanted to address this before like people get this idea that flow is just magical, which it is, but there's also more to it than you can imagine. So I guess first let me introduce myself. I'm Leimomi Keliikuli. I'm Intuitive Soul. I'm a coach, and so I basically help my clients to get into their flow, their unique way that they're going to show up in the world so that they can impact others, but in their own unique way. And to do that, I read their soul's blueprints in their Akashic records and give them exactly their soul's blueprints so that they can use that as a catalyst to get into this flow and this way of stepping into their leadership that's really, really in soul alignment to them. I also can clear out any of those negative blocks that may be restricting them from fully stepping into their potential. And that all like really has a lot to do with being in this soul and business alignment. So my basic way of thinking is I help people to go from soul alignment, then knowing exactly who they are at soul level, so then their blueprints can take them into their business alignment, right? So what their soul is meant to do and express itself as an expression of their divine self-expression. And then, bring out their success mindset so they can go after what they desire, and then, create the messaging that works for them to be really, really from the heart and bringing out their message in the world. And then we talk about strategy, because strategy is just the stuff after you get into this alignment that I'm talking about. So I want to talk about mastery, because we have this idea that it's that once we get there, it's just done. Like it's done. We're like Superwoman, Superman, and like everything will be all ready and all done. But that's not really how it works. There's so much more levels after that, after the mastery part. So I basically teach my clients on first, okay, who you are at soul level, right? And taking that basic, which is the foundation, which is your blueprints, and then taking that up another notch and another notch, which more has a lot to do with taking action to what your soul desires, and really making it very clear on who you're helping and how you're meant to help people, right? So, but the thing that I think we think when we're in this flow, it's a done deal, and we just stay there. But usually it can last like maybe a week or two or a month at most. So it's actually this constant awareness that needs to take place throughout your entire lifetime. So think about it, like how many times when you were in this flow and then something out of the blue just like knocked you down, right? That knocking down is just actually to show you where you have faltered, where you are not really being true to yourself in some way, that you are not being clear about who you are in some way. So it's just a reflection, right? So if you're not really clear about that at that moment, you can create more and more problems going into misalignment, into alignment, into misalignment, into alignment, right? So this is why I created all these programs and services to help my clients and people to like realize that this is an ongoing journey. And when you have your blueprints, actually, it keeps you, it's like the roadmap to success. It keeps you really, really clear and confident, and more in self-acceptance, and more in this ability to just have a centered focus and being in the moment. So one of the biggest reasons why we don't monetize our gifts and why we don't go where we want to go is because we're constantly, number one, overwhelming ourselves by too much noise, right? And number two is we create ego sabotage, or the circumstances, people, places, and things that stop us from going after what we want. That can either be physically to yourself, whether it's your body, right? You get sick, or your children get sick, or get into a car accident, all these kind of external forces, right? There's also internal type of sabotage that happens, like all that crazy mind chatter going on, right? And stopping you from really focusing. So the more you're cleared of all those soul level blocks, and also you're taking aligned action, the faster you're going to get to your goal. So this is why you need your blueprints. This is why you need to know what you're at soul level, because it's going to, every time it shows up, you're like, okay, I'm misaligned here in my manifesting blueprint of my similarity. There's somebody really contrasting me. We're really not aligned to each other, so I should not engage with this person, right? So if you're looking at each part of your blueprints, you're going to be reminded, okay, this is not me, this is me. This is what I want to be, and this is what I don't want to be. And the clearer you get on that, the easier the maintenance will become, okay? So the first thing is you have to understand that maintenance is the hardest part of soul alignment. It's actually the hardest part, is the maintenance part. Because like I said, once you like, for example, my clients, they get their clearing, they get their shell cleared, which is all that energetic noise that stops it from being visible, from all this anxiety and all this tension that they have, all this worry that's really not their energy, and it's just, disempowering them. Or, I align them to their financial goals so that they can really, really be very specific on the thing that they want to align to, how much money they want to make, the impact that they want to make, write their book or things like that, which I can also do energetically to support you. So after we do all of that clearing work, it's interesting because right after that, you get clarity, you feel on fire, you feel really happy. But then the ego sabotage starts stepping up. Like the more you focus on what you want, the more the sabotage comes back. The chaos, the people, like stops you from doing what you want to do, like you name it, right? So when that happens, the key is you need to know your blueprints, because when there is chaos, it usually means you're misaligned somewhere in your blueprints. So that's when you go back, you go look at what you are at soul level, you look at your full blueprints. And by the way, this is what I can do, is I can create a 3-hour recording of what you are at soul level. And I make a PDF file and everything for you so that you can always come back into this remembrance of who you are. So what you do, you take your blueprints and then you apply it to the different things that are happening in your life. So like, let's say you're going after a job and, you applied for it, you went for the interview, and then suddenly you got sick, or your husband got sick, and then suddenly like you couldn't go to the interview, and so you feel really sorry that you couldn't do what you wanted to do, and so you stepped away, right? Sometimes it's seriously because your body and your ego doesn't want you to go after something that you desire. So instead of like not doing that interview, maybe you have to go look into your blueprints. Like, for example, if you're an instigative, you have to instigate the change, which means that you have to go after that interview and you have to show up, right? But then your body's like, no, I can't do that. Or your husband's like, no, you got to stay home and take care of me, right? Like all this sabotage so that you don't get the thing that you want. So when you're super clear about where you're misaligned in your blueprints, as soon as you get in alignment with that one thing, it's going to affect the rest of what needs to manifest for getting that job, for example, right? So as soon as you instigated that change, which is maybe one of your blueprints, then suddenly you've got like 10 different opportunities showing up. By you actually showing up for that one interview, you ended up with a whole bunch of like not only money, but promotion, or other people who are actually willing to, promote you or something like that. And the reasoning is because you did something that was aligned better to your blueprint. Instead of letting the ego sabotage happen to you, you make those choices. You make that choice to get further into alignment, and you get really, really clear on that goal, and then you achieve it. So imagine if you had this clarity every single time whenever something weird like that shows up. It's never, never, never something not not, how to say, it's always something that's going to be sabotaging in some way. So you have to see it. Where you misaligned yourself somewhere in your manifesting blueprints or something, is that really because your soul, wanted that, and then your ego showed up and didn't want it, right? Or is it really just you made an action that was not aligned to you, like a couple of days before, where you didn't instigate the change that you wanted to, right? So because you're being a bit more reactive to whatever came to you, instead of really saying like, I really, really want to do this, then the next day you get sick and then you can't go for that interview, right? So the clearer you are aware of all your blueprints, the easier it is to stop this negative progression or chaos from happening, right? So this is what I have learned through studying my own, my alignment to my blueprints, and then also helping my clients, is like there's always a breaking point. There's always something that happened 24 to 48 hours before that you made a decision, you made a choice that created that circumstance that misaligned you, that it didn't allow you to actually do the thing that you wanted. Do you see how that works? So this is why I created my programs, to help people to see like where I am misaligned, where I am sabotaging my ability to move forward, where I need to revamp what I was doing to make it even better, even further in alignment. So even if you think you're in alignment, there's so much more, I can tell you, there's so much more that's going to allow you to get even further into alignment. Because number one, you have to be aware of what you are aligning to. That awareness is key. And I work with people who are totally, in a catch-22, totally misaligned, to people who really are already in alignment, but they just need there's a few more missing pieces that they didn't get to see. And that's what my expertise is. I can pinpoint where that is, why you are in that misalignment, which part of your blueprints you're misaligned, so then you can actually take an action. And I tell you, right after you take that one action, you've got money flowing in, you've got new clients, you've got like new media opportunities, new things just start to flow to you, because you became consciously aware of where you were misaligned, so then you can get into alignment. This is what I consider soul alignment, because it's aligned to you. It's something very personal. Everybody has different manifesting blueprints. They all have different blueprints. And this is what's sad, is that out there, all the content out there is very not personalized to you. So if you don't have something like this more tangible for you to work towards, you can be guessing. And you don't want to be guessing, by the way, because it's going to create more further chaos in the long run, right? So this maintenance is the hardest part. This is kind of the level 2 work that I kind of work with people. It's the hardest part because of so much noise out there, so much circumstances, and so much things that you overwhelm yourself, or the ego sabotage shows up, or you're not monetizing your gifts, so then you don't have the time freedom that you want because you're working really hard instead of in this flow, right? There's so many reasons why it's not working, because you're not very clear about this maintenance part, okay? So the key actually is you have to be even more present in what you're doing every day. And if you're not present, this awareness is key. Whenever I ask my clients and my audience, like, where you feel not good and not in alignment, the first thing I ask is, are you aware of what's happening? And usually they say, I don't know. I don't know. What is it? You tell me what it is. I'm like, well, you need to go back and look at what were you doing, what feels in alignment or not, because it's so personal. Even if you get a psychic reading, or you get, some kind of tool from your business coach or your life coach or whoever, they don't live your life every day. You do. So this is why it's so important to have mastery of your soul's gifts, because you have to master yourself. You have to master the ability to watch where you're aligned and where you're not in alignment, right? Because the more present you are, the easier it is for you to solve the issue in a much quicker time. So what's interesting is that when you get in this alignment, what happens later on is that instead of it taking you like a week to figure out where you're misaligned, it would take you like a day or a couple hours to figure out what it is, and then you're in flow again. So this is what I'm saying about mastering. It's just the timeline between, you know, where you made a choice that was not in alignment to you, right? It's just a shorter time of how you recover. The key is mastering that recovery, right? Because you only have enough time in the day, right? You only can give enough value to people in your connections and who you engage with, right? And you only have enough energy or effort to do what you need to do, because, you know, money is time, right? So if you're not leveraging on your time and your money, you're going to lose in some way. You're either going to lose a lot of time, not have the money that you need, or you have a lot of money but you don't have a time, right? So the closer you are in alignment, the harder it is to leverage time, because time is more valuable than money, right? Time you can never get back. Once you use it up, it's done. Money, yeah, you can get, you know, every single time when you focus on it, it can come to you as long as you're very clear about that, right? So this is where the maintenance is where are you misaligned in your ability to leverage your time and your money and that effort that your effort or value you're giving to people, okay? So that's the first step. Is you just have to be aware that maintenance is actually a much deeper aspect of mastery of your soul's gifts, okay? And second is you need to be willing to eliminate things that block you, people, places, and things that block you, that immediately creates misalignments. And that's the hard part, because it always shows up. It always shows up. You can think like you had the best person, you know, best relationship, best person to get help from, and then suddenly, like, one day that person's just not aligned to you anymore, and you're like trying really hard to figure out, well, how can I make this a better alignment? But you can't, because it just ain't aligned to you anymore, right? You have to be willing to drop the ball and say, it's okay, this is not aligned to me anymore, no attachment to it, and let it go. Oh my God, you imagine, right? Every time when you get into this space, you're like, oh, what do I do, right? So then you go out and you ask for advice or from other people. But I have to tell you that the best advice is you talking to your soul and you asking, are you aligned to this or not? And if you're not, you have to be willing to let go of that attachment somehow. This is why, of course, divorce is never wonderful, right? Because you had so much amazing experiences, and then suddenly it's like done with, right? Or even your children, you have to let them grow up. You have to stop enabling them. You have to allow them to be themselves, and, you know, take care of who you are and do a lot of self-care. So it's best for you in the future that you want to create. So when you think about it, nothing's ever safe. Nothing's ever going to be the same. So you have to throw out that idea that also, once I'm in this flow, that I'm going to continuously be in this flow. It doesn't work that way. You actually have to transform day in and day out. So you cannot be attached to anything of what showed up or what you expect it to be, because it's always going to be not the right thing that may be not even aligned to you any longer, right? So that's the second thing, right? You have to be willing to just let it go, eliminate it, or change the dynamic of it some way, right? You just don't see that person much anymore. You just don't engage with those things that they talk about anymore, your friends or your family, right? That's a choice. That's something that you have to be willing to set up boundaries for and train people to work with you, not against you. So what's funny, like for me, for example, like my family and my friends, like they know if I decide something, Source gave me some guidance, this is just what it is. And they respect me because I have very clear boundaries. You know, this is alignment for me. This is not an alignment for me. So there's no gray line. It's just what it is. And they respect that. And I've trained everybody around me to be okay with that. But see, like that took some time and effort to gain that trust. So if you need to make changes in your life, You actually need to gain trust from all the relationships and people, even with yourself too. Because the deeper you do that and you ask those questions, right, beforehand, the easier it is to break through whatever is blocking you. But it's never easy, and it's never going to be so beautifully like done. Sometimes it is, but most of the times it's pretty dramatic, right? But that clarity of your boundaries is so important. Okay. Then the third thing is you have to spend a lot of time in deep contemplation. So maybe once a day, or just somewhere where even you're taking 5 to 10 minutes to think about what your life is about, what is going on in your life, and whether you are in alignment with what's happening right now, because it's going to constantly shift. So if you're not spending enough time to be in this deeper contemplation of what your soul is, what you want at soul level, it's going to cause a lot of disruption in everything else in the rest of your life, right? So if you can catch it before it gets into a chaotic mess, right, then again, you will feel this flow very quickly. So this is why I said that maintenance and mastery of your soul alignment is not what you think. It's so much more. It's about really, really looking at what you are and what you truly want, like constantly, over and over again. Because sometimes you think you want this thing, and then 2 hours later you don't want this thing, right? Because that wishy-washy actually has a lot to do with truly what you are at soul level. So if things are not aligned to that next steps that you want to get towards, you have to be willing to let that go. My plans change all the time, and I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just because I have to constantly be like, like when you're driving on the freeway, like, and you're trying to get to where you need to go to get to the exit, right? You're like dodging between cars, right? You're just like going at it, and you're feeling where you need to go, where you need to stop, right? Where you need to go forward and stop, and going forward and stop, and left and right until you get to your goal. That's what soul alignment is like. When you're getting into this mastery, you have to be willing to change as you go. And it's not, sometimes not pretty, especially for those souls who are very, very good at manifestation. By the way, they're just crazy to hang around with all day because they're constantly changing. So this contemplation, this is why this deeper contemplation is so important. So then you can find the further clarity of what to do next. Because the next step never ever happens only in a week from now. The next step happens right now, what you're doing, what you're thinking about. Like right now, you're listening to me. I'm bringing an awareness for you that's going to hopefully give you more clarity. And then it's going to make you rethink about what you need to do next. That's going to get you to your next step. But you don't always have somebody to tell you that, right? Or you need to train people around you to remind you. And most people are too nice. They don't really tell you where you're misaligned until you're really misaligned, and they're like, see, I knew you were misaligned, but I didn't tell you before because I was, I wanted to be nice about it. That's how people think. So how are you going to depend on other people to tell you where you need to change? No. You need to be so clear about what it is that you need to change, what it is that is your goal, what it is the intention that you need to create day by day, hour by hour, because this is maintenance. So let me ask you that. Are you thinking like this every day, every moment? Are you really taking this deep contemplation about what you truly want and what your soul's gifts are and how you want to show up in the world? No, are you willing to eliminate all those things that are blocking you as soon as it's there? Like, are you willing to be not attached, right? And where are you when you are in this noise? Are you allowing the noise to just throw you down, right? Overwhelming yourself? Why? And as soon as you get clarity and this awareness is so important, then you can take action towards what needs to change. So see how incredible, once you're in this flow, it never ends. it's so much more going on than you can even imagine. Why you are in flow is because you are taking aligned action at certain periods of time that lets you continue that flow, right? So I had somebody ask me about this. This is why I'm explaining it, because what I was finding was she was having this illusion that, okay, like everything would just be totally fine, everything is great. And I was like, no, like, have you noticed that there are certain periods of time where you need to make changes? And she's like, yeah, that's true. Then I was like, well, what made you make those changes? She's like, well, because I was aware. And I was like, yeah. So you are constantly engaging in this flow. It's not just like hands off and nothing's happening, right? That's not how it works. What really is happening when you're in this flow is you're constantly shifting and changing so that the flow can continue. But you're just not aware of it. So imagine if you were totally aware of this, you were aligning to your soul's blueprints, right? You're manifesting all the things that you desire every 2 to 4 days. You're up-leveling all your life areas, because by the way, it takes time to up-level all 10 of your life areas. So if you can be good at one part of your life area, but really sucky in the other, right? So this constant movement, this constant awareness needs to happen. And the sooner you do that, right, the easier life will feel and flow. So this is why I created my 14-day Soul Line Manifestation Method program, because I founded this method of what exactly I'm talking about is how to stay in this flow, how to create from the heart. So what it is over a 14-day period, you get these like 10-minute videos on explaining about each part of your blueprints and what they are, and then how to align to them. And this is where your personal blueprints, your manifesting blueprints are keys, because you need to know what to align to. Then once you know that alignment, then you just start like every day, just taking that soul line action for that day. And within 2 to 3 or 4 days at most, you're going to start to create this momentum that creates all these different manifestations that's really, really aligned to your soul and what you're meant to do and how you're meant to show up and serve people. So we're going to be starting very soon in March. So if you're really wanting to do this, I'm doing my programs maybe every other month for now. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue this for the whole year, but for sure I'm doing this for the next month. It's the 14-day program, then after that the 30-day program, and I'm kind of alternating it. And the reason is because I want people to learn each part of this alignment of opening the heart, and then expanding the psychic gifts, opening the 6th chakra, so that you're constantly learning how to be and maneuvering in this flow like I was just talking about. But you can't do that unless you have the actual experience, and this is where the creation comes in. To me, manifestation is creation. It's creation directly from your heart. It's not from the head, but it's from your heart. So the program is designed to get you in your heart, to help you to really, really feel this alignment feeling, and then start taking actions towards all these things that you really, truly desire. Because as soon as you do those, you're going to start to see momentum happen. And when you've got the basis, then you can maintain this, that what I'm talking about, into the next levels, which is the mastering your soul's gifts. And that's what I'm going to do for my next program, is teach you how to master your soul's gifts. So, but this is a very good stepping stone if you've been wanting to know who you are at soul level, what you're meant to do, to help and serve people, but also like your unique way that you manifest and how you create things in your life. Like, this is an awesome program to learn those basics. So if you want to know more about all of this stuff, you can go to my website at LeimomiKeliikuli.com, and it's with the WW, of course. And all of my program and services about the shell clearing and the financial goals and visions clearing, and the 14-day program, the 30-day program, the Mastering Your Soul's Gifts are all there. So that I can help you further to get into this alignment and really what's that meant to do to help to serve you and your family and also your audience, of course. So if you go to my website, you can get all that information. And then also, if you want some support in this way, you can join my Soul Alignment Leaders for Conscious Living Facebook group, and that's where you can get more support from other people who believe in this conscious living and living in alignment to their soul. And then if you want to know about what maybe your main type of your gifts are, you can take my Divine Business Gifts quiz. And that is, again, right on my website, right on the front page. You can't miss it. That will give you an idea what your gifts are, and where your idea where to focus. Then once you get that awareness, then the next step is to start taking soul aligned action towards your main gifts. And I found that there's 3 main gifts that people have, and we usually align to the second and third. That's what gets us in misalignment. So when you know your 3 main gifts, it's going to, change your relationship, of course, with yourself, relationship with others, knowing how to JV partner and partner with people that's most aligned to you, but also, communicate better, have better connections, and then really, really get targeted in your messaging, because you have to be aligned to your 3 gifts in order from the first, second, and third gifts, because usually you're doing it from the opposite direction, or it's not totally in alignment to you. So you end up working 10 times harder by aligning to the 3rd gift, and 5 times harder aligning to the 2nd gift, when really you're aligning to the 1st gift is effortless. And this is how you can master this energy of flow that I'm talking about now. Okay. All right, well, I hope that enlightened you, got you to think about what to do next and what to change. But like I said, this maintenance and mastering your soul alignment is so much more deeper than you can even imagine. Because when you're working in this alignment and you're doing it on purpose, this is when you're going to manifest and create amazing things in your life. And this is how abundance happens. It's through conscious creation. Cool, it's good, you get free stuff, free food, free things, and things like that. But if it's really not from your heart and it's not a conscious creation, it never really fulfills the bigger goal or vision of what you want to create. So think of manifestation and everything that you have in your life, or whatever just like suddenly showed up, was actually alignment to your gifts some way. So imagine if you know what your soul's blueprints are and you're aligning to your unique nature in this way, how much more power you're going to have to create all the different things in your life. And that's what I help people with, is telling you what your unique soul is about, so that you can use that as the roadmap to your success and your unique manifestation and abundance that you want to create. All right, well, I hope that all helped you. And again, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me, or you can PM message me. If you do feel like there's more that you would like to learn or figure out which one is the best program for you, totally just reach out to me. All right, well, have a beautiful day. Aloha.